I think I can speak on behalf of the three of us that, supporting first responders who support us and keep us safe in our community is very important, and having the opportunity to talk about that to this group of people that were interested in it, sharing some of the specific issues that we have within policing jurisdictions and sort of what we're trying to do differently. ProCare were very keen on us to talk about innovation and thinking blue sky, which is kind of something that we don't, and you get caught in the nitty-gritty of day-to-day work. You often don't take the time to think about things that we're either doing well or things we could do better.
It is day 2 of PIEF 2024, and we are delighted to meet with members from our police force nationally who are part of the ProCare group. Welcome to Mitch and Laura and Nadia. Thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Could you tell us a little bit about ProCare and what it is that your involvement provides in terms of assisting with recovery and care for first responders?
So ProCare are a rehabilitation provider that we work with in all of our roles. We refer out to them to support our workers. So ProCare reached out to us as they do work with us, and they know us well, and they know we don't necessarily collaborate amongst the different jurisdictions. So I'm New South Wales, Nadia is South Australia, and Mitch is Western Australian Police. So they reached out and said, would we be interested in being part of this panel? And I jumped at the opportunity because I thought, it's a great opportunity to be involved in the conference itself, but also B, the opportunity to collaborate with colleagues and, share sort of similar challenges, learnings, opportunities for looking at doing things differently, which is something that we don't ever get to do. So I was very excited to get to be part of it. And I guess second to that, also gave us an opportunity to talk about something that we're all very passionate about. I think I can speak on behalf of the three of us that, supporting first responders who support us and keep us safe in our community is very important, and having the opportunity to talk about that to this group of people that were interested in it, sharing some of the specific issues that we have within policing jurisdictions and sort of what we're trying to do differently. ProCare were very keen on us to talk about innovation and thinking blue sky, which is kind of something that we don't, and you get caught in the nitty-gritty of day-to-day work. You often don't take the time to think about things that we're either doing well or things we could do better. So it's just a really nice opportunity to get together with colleagues, but also to share with people that are interested in what it's like for first responders in injury management.
It's a wonderful thing for ProCare to be doing as a provider, to actually reach out to the cohort that they are looking to service and ask you to be part of their panel so that you can provide that lived experience and that advice.
We're all employed by our different policing jurisdictions, and then we refer out to ProCare for things like assistance with case management, one-off services, supporting workers to return to or recover at work.
Yeah, and that's just to ensure that first responders are getting the best quality care from a group that understands the perspective. Exactly. And you've got that confidence knowing that you have that stakeholder relationship and they can then inform their best practices off of the back of that as well.
Exactly.
Now, you had mentioned that you're all from different jurisdictions, but there are some key themes and some similarities that are between you. What are you seeing as the critical issues that are facing first responders that have been injured?
Yeah, I think one of the major issues is just under-resourcing and sort of that burnout, particularly, in regional areas where you might have 2 or 3 man stations. If you have one officer down for a prolonged period of time for a mental health issue, that's a significant impact on the others that are in that area. So I think, that's one of the common things that we're seeing.
Yeah, and probably a reluctance for our older generations who've been policing for a while, a reluctance to seek help for fear of being made non-operational. So that means, what does that mean for their career? And how and it's a little bit of how is everyone going to perceive me? And I'm not strong enough. And so seeking help in the older generation is challenging. So they may turn to other methods, and it could be alcohol abuse, or looking to transfer to a different area in the hopes that their problem or their injury will subside, and that's not the case, and ultimately just prolonging the inevitable. So that's a big issue, and probably in the younger generation it's just a shift in mindset So how do we manage that, and what does that mean for our organisations moving forward? So there's a lot there to think about, but I think they're also another element that we're probably a bit consistent across the states. Yeah.
Mm. Any kind of mind shift is difficult because we're dealing with people, and people often take a lot of time to change their ways of thinking. In terms of innovation, you had mentioned that there are some innovations and different things that you're doing to support ProCare in their active management of claims. What are those practices?
So we, in terms of what New South Wales Police are doing, we're investing a lot in the prevention of injuries as much as we can, being very cognizant of psychosocial risk and understanding how we can address that internally and educate people around what psychosocial risk is, but also looking at, embedded mental health clinicians that we've brought on in the last year or so to really try and, we've got a lot of support services available. There's a lot available to people. It's just knowing how to access them, why to access them and when to access them. So by having embedded mental health clinicians, they can sort of link people in. They can get an idea as to when someone might not be travelling particularly well and link them into the appropriate support services. So we're really looking at what can be done in the prevention space, but also supporting people through. We know medical retirements are always going to remain inevitable. People are always going to, not be able to return to the police for some reason. So supporting people through that, we expect that it's going to happen for some people. So making sure they're set up for success once they leave is really important for us as well.
Yep. Mitch, are you doing anything here in WA?
I think from the injury prevention sort of like that with the psych services, we're probably a little bit further along than New South Wales in that space. And I think it shows, we've got a psychology unit that, they go out to regional WA and have been for a few years now. And they're fully booked. They're going out. It's become common practice for people to go and speak to them and things like that. So hopefully that's what ends up happening in New South Wales. And I think we've probably had some challenges in the injury management space in terms of getting innovation up and running due to IT and security issues. So I think that's something we're chipping away at the moment to try and get those systems in place to try and maximise our ability to screen for who needs more support and who doesn't, and let's focus on those that do.
So wonderful to have you all sharing and learning and collaborating, because even in the journey you've just described, Nadia, you're talking about changing culture around seeking support early. You've then started an innovative practice to ensure that services are accessible. And you're at the other end of that spectrum where you've already gone through that test and learn phase, and you have embedded now practice, which is common and no longer seen as something that is foreign or odd for someone to be seeking that support. So certainly wishing you every success in your continued collaborative support with ProCare, and certainly thinking of our first responders who do protect us and keep us safe each and every day, and as important members of our community, we hope that we can continue to support you in what you're doing. Thank you so much.